Hello, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars show. This week brought to you from Jabba's Palace. Not really.
So this week, Variety's released a list of what they say is the final shortlist.
What they say?
What they say
Not true.
is the final list
Okay.
for the young Han Solo part.
Okay.
And like we've done an episode on who we wanted, and like some of them ones we said were real and some of them were fake, but I'm not that impressed with this list, man.
Why not?
Just none of them jumped out at me.
Even though some of them were on our picks for young Han Solo.
Not mine. Not my picks.
Okay.
Basically, none of my picks were on this list. But this is like inside sources saying this is what it's down to. So it's down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people.
Wasn't that more than this?
What?
I thought there was a few more hidden ones.
I don't think so.
Okay. So it's one of these 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, according to Variety and according to inside sources. So, so Dave Franco was a lot of people's like top of their list, and I really like Dave Franco.
Okay. I'm going to read this comment you've put here in the notes. Bear in mind, I haven't written this section. I don't trust his eyes.
Yeah.
Why do you sound like a Victorian physiognomist? Like, you know this is not, you shouldn't judge people based on appearances.
He's got like little Weasley eyes, hasn't he?
Why?
You can't fix his eyes. You can't have different eyes,
Don't start
can you?
slating weasels either.
Look at those eyes. Look at those eyes, right? Those Han Solo's eyes are beautiful. They're doughy. That you look at them and you feel safe. Your eyes are very similar to his. I look in your eyes.
Don't pander to me to get me on side. Like, the next thing you're going to be saying is that we should be measuring people's heads.
But you look in Han Solo's eyes and you feel comfortable. This, he's a scoundrel, but there's something that's nice. You look in Dave Franco's eyes, all I see is scoundrel. He's a scoundrel. He always plays scoundrels.
You see nothing but scoundrel.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's probably what they've done. They've got him in and they've gone, scoundrel.
Yeah.
Easy casting. What are we looking for? It says scoundrel here.
So
He's got scoundrelly eyes.
I really like Dave Franco.
Okay.
But I'm not up for that.
Right, who's this next chap? I don't know. Scott
Eastwood. Related to Mr. Clint Eastwood.
You can probably work that out.
Yeah, you might have seen him in Gran Torino or Fury. No, he's too old. He looks too old, and also, like you've started reading my notes out. Those notes weren't for like
public consumption. But don't put them on because there's other bits of paper here that I'm trained to read off. Don't put it here because that's just putting me off now.
Do you want to read what I put?
Well, he puts looks like Clint but melting.
Yeah, so he looks like Clint Eastwood is melting. Okay. Can't have that as Han Solo, can you?
Well, not when you put it like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Logan Lerman, who's in Perks of Being a Wallflower and Fury.
He's a good actor, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really good. But what have I put? And this is true.
Looks like an elf. The more you say read what I put, the more I'm thinking that you wrote that with the intention of it being read out.
No, I didn't. I was gonna basically. You read the first one out, and I was just gonna give you my case. But now we're there.
No, so Logan Lerman is obviously Perks of Being a Wallflower Fury. He's done some incredible films in recent years. He started off like some people know him from Percy Jackson as well.
Oh yeah.
He's turned into a decent young actor, isn't he?
He is. He's a really good actor, but he always plays parts where he's kind of like victim, and I think like he always plays like someone who's been like trodden on, and he's like has to overcome that. I don't want that from Han Solo. I want him to be
but maybe that's
it's
what
tricky.
The story is. Maybe that's acting. I say this a lot with casting.
With you, Gavin.
No, but I say a lot like with casting in general. It's like he'll probably act it differently. That's the beauty of him. No, but it's like, I know what you mean. Like, he's been cast in a lot of similar ways. And also, it's very easy in Hollywood if you get cast in a couple of roles that you cast like for like.
Yeah.
He might have done an audition and done a really good performance of that kind of type.
To be fair, like ages ago, when we first were talking about, when we were actually probably our first episode, when we were evaluating the cast, I said about Donald Gleason that I thought he was going to be like Luke's son because he played those kind of parts where he plays like sort of like innocent,
quite homely
thing, and couldn't have been more wrong really.
No, he's a very right-wing, xenophobic bureaucrat.
Yeah. Next up, Emery Cohen from Brooklyn and Place Beyond the Pines. I watched Brooklyn the other day and it's really good, and he's really good in it, but he looks like he's hiding something.
But that's what you want from a smuggler.
Not from Han Solo though.
But he's literally hiding stuff.
Yeah, but he's hiding it from us. Not hiding like a physical thing.
Yeah.
He's hiding something inside
emotionally.
him. Yeah.
But you don't think Han Solo is? What's made him like this? What's made him this toe rag? What's his? I guess also what's interesting. Like, I guess the one thing you can. Well, there's a bit of an age range here.
There is, yeah.
So you can't really infer too much about how old they want him to be, because you've got people who here could play younger, you've got here people who could play older.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird, actually.
Well,
so I thought they were going to go much younger.
Yeah. We still don't know when it's going to be set or anything like that. But we do know it's Chris Miller and Phil Lord, that's all. But I don't know, I kind of thought it would be a little bit different than this. Next up was Blake Jenner, who's in Glee. I didn't see that. And Supergirl, apparently he's really good in Supergirl. I'm not going to read out where I put for him.
No, we should definitely not read that.
We're not reading that. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see him at all. He's got a really long face. So long faces.
Long face not good for cinema. Wide face good. That is the aspect ratio of cinema.
Exactly. Ansel Elgort.
Okay.
From Fault in Our Stars, and that Divergent
stuff you've put. You said Divergent stuff.
Yeah. Face too squashy.
Yeah. A lot of these are really harsh on.
I've looked at them.
Faces.
I've looked at them. I've looked at performances, or in this guy's case, trailers for his performances. Fault in Our Stars and Divergent.
I've judged him on the trailers of his performances.
Yeah. And I just, like, do you know what I mean? All of these, like, none of them are, like, when someone's cast, it's really, I know it's really, really hard, and it very rarely happens, but you want someone to go, oh, yeah, that's what I want. That very rarely happens, I know that. But at the same time,
sometimes it can be spectacularly wrong.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger.
Exactly, but at the same time, I wasn't one of the people who were like, what is this, or anything like that. Like, I was kind of thinking, oh, that's really interesting.
Tom Hardy Bane.
Exactly, yeah. Tom Hardy Bane, I think, was the one I was like, that's bang on. Absolutely. And finally then, Miles Teller, who I absolutely love.
I think he was probably in a film that was on both our favourite films of the last year lists.
Yeah. Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, yeah. He really held that film together.
Yeah.
Whiplash.
Yeah.
He's extraordinary in Whiplash. He couldn't play the drums at all, and in 3 months he learned to play the drums better than anyone on the planet. So hopefully he learns how to do something similar for Han Solo if he gets it. You said, I like him, but he's not the one. He doesn't feel quite like Han Solo.
No. Do you know what? There's a bit where there's a couple of bits where he loses his temper in Whiplash, but there's one in particular, I really love it in the film. There's a bit where he's shouting at like his sort of understudy, and he's saying about holding his papers, and he shouts at him, he's like, hold my pages, bitch, which is really cool in the film. But
which is what you say to interns.
Exactly. But when he loses his temper, I didn't like him, and I thought, yeah, there's something about him. There's an evil. There's a darkness.
I haven't seen him in the roles he's played, like for instance in the scene in Whiplash where he goes on the dinner date with the girl. Yeah. He's a nerdy dude in Whiplash. He's a music nerd. He's awkward. I haven't seen the film that makes it easy for me to imagine him play Han Solo.
Exactly. And the same with a lot of these people. So
let's boil it down then. Like, I dropped my pen. Boil it down. Like, do we know what we want then? Is it better just to go with an unknown? Because with all these people, you've got preconceptions. Yes. Whether it is his shifty eyes or a trailer you didn't like. Yeah. It's hard for. I think it's also because it's such an iconic role.
Yeah. It's really hard.
So I think Dave Franco, I can imagine him doing the kind of charm and slightly being a slight womanizer. But again, I've got too many preconceptions about Dave Franco, and I've got too big a lodged idea of what Han Solo is to make that work.
But then at the same time, this person's got to sell this film. I know, like, it's a Han Solo film, so you probably won't have to do that.
Don't forget about Chewie.
You won't have to like sell it that hard. Yeah. But going with an unknown is awesome because audiences won't have any expectations about the performances. But at the same time, how are they going to sell that film if you don't know what it is? But then, to be honest, can any of these people sell a film?
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, the young cast there, really? Like, no one's super, like... Oscar Isaac's a great actor, but he's not box office yet. He might be now. But Harrison Ford although Harrison Ford recently became the highest grossing actor of all time at the box office.
Really?
This last week because of Force Awakens. True.
Yeah, just because of Force Awakens.
Well, no, but that's the thing that's moved him over.
Yeah.
He is also in Blade Runner. Actually, that didn't do too well at the box office. Yeah. But also Indiana Jones. And the original Star Wars films.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well done, Harrison.
Not just that.
No, I know that, but like in recent years I'm talking.
It's not just him and Lupita Nyong'o at the top. Okay.
So that's the list anyway. We're not that impressed with it. But prove us wrong, Dave Franco. Also this week, John Boyega was in an interview because he's just been nominated for a BAFTA.
Yeah, he's the rising star.
Rising star, yeah. Although, like, it's a bit sad not to see Daisy Ridley in there as well. Like, both,
no in there.
both really good. And
where's Daisy?
Exactly, where is Daisy? And this is one of the BAFTAs as well that's actually voted for by people. So if you wanted to vote for it, you could. He's up against some other people. It's actually up against Taron Egerton, who I would say should play the young Han Solo.
Yeah.
But he's not anyway. But he was doing an interview anyway, and he said he's just started work on episode 8, so I'm back to keeping secrets again. It's great, much darker, but we're very excited. Can you get darker than The Force Awakens?
Apparently so.
Like, Han Solo dies, man.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe he's talking about the use of lighting.
Yes, I don't think it is.
He's also saying he's going to the gym more, isn't he? He says,
Yeah.
my next part in the next film will be much more physical, so might be in the gym a bit more. What can we infer?
Don't know.
So
Lots more fighting?
I guess we don't know what their plan is, what they could be doing to the other systems in the universe.
Yeah.
That could take it in a darker direction. We might spend more time with Kylo Ren and Snoke.
Yeah.
And see what he's doing to him. That's quite dark, twisting him even further.
Yeah.
He could be going through a lot more soul searching about, if he's still in this next movie, it could go two ways, I think, with Kylo Ren. So he killed his father. Snoke knew that was a big test for him.
Yeah.
That would be maybe kill off the last remnants of Ben Solo. But if it doesn't, he still has those moments of lucidity where he's like, I'm fighting with the light. Imagine the pain he'll experience in those moments.
Yeah.
Where he's like doubting whether he should submit to Snoke.
Yeah.
And then he's burdened with the kind of memory that he killed his father.
Yeah.
It's bad enough when he killed loads of Jedi kids.
Because that's the really bad thing is, even now, if he turns around and he's like, oh, actually, I've done something bad, I want to go back to the light. You've got a long way to go because you've gone, well, I've already gone this far and killed my dad. Like, what else can I do?
Stay with it.
Yeah. Like, that's going to be really hard.
It's like when you've eaten half a Terry's chocolate orange.
Yeah.
You go, oh, might as well.
Might as well eat the other half.
Might as well finish it and feel really terrible.
I haven't had Terry's chocolate orange in ages. I can't remember the last time I had one.
Yeah, but it was probably, because then you just don't stop like me.
Yeah.
I had the full range at Christmas.
Did you?
Yeah, I even had the toffee one.
What's a toffee one?
It's got toffee in it.
In what, like
Chunks.
liquid toffee?
No, like
oh,
chunks.
toffee chunks.
Like little
Yeah.
chunks, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So we don't really know why it'll be darker.
But I think I think one of the big things that we've said about Boyega's performance is we really think that he's going to become this like revolutionary like leader and lead all the stormtroopers that have been taken away from their families away, and that's got to be quite hard, isn't it? Because to do that, I guess he's going to kind of have to leave all the people that he's just met behind.
Also, take it darker, if that is a plot line they want to explore, one of the ways that they'll basically add substance to that is, will he find out what happened to his parents?
Yeah.
Will he stumble across an archive of like where he came from? Will he find them? Will he find that they were murdered, so he was taken as a baby? That's all the dark stuff that they could go into. It's like, what has the kind of First Order done to acquire this vast army? What kind of atrocities has it committed in the past?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of dark stuff they could delve into.
Yeah, definitely as well. And like, one of the big things in Force Awakens where he says like, you don't know what I've seen. He's not talking about just the attack that on Jakku that we see at the beginning that he sort of freaks out about. He sees some really horrible stuff, I'm sure, especially like being brought up in those camps. I can't imagine it's a very nice place. Yeah. Like, they're teaching you to kill. They're like, your life is to serve them and do their bidding.
Basically having your personality hollowed out every single day through systematic brainwashing.
Yeah.
Also,
I used to work at Toys R Us, and that's pretty much what it was. It was hard, man.
Yeah,
really
you've been
hard.
turned into a Jeffrey. Thousands of Jeffreys all under one base. But also, like, will we see or will we find out like how many Jedi younglings did Kylo Ren kill?
Loads.
Like, just murdered. How many were there in this academy that Luke was running?
I really want to.
Like, he, as a young man, as a teenager, potentially killed children.
Yeah.
Kids that he knew, he went to school with. But I've seen a mocked up poster like, we need to talk about Kylo Ren. But it is the Star Wars equivalent of someone going into a school and massacring it. Which, this is Star Wars, but obviously there's a very real equivalent of that. and that is harrowing.
Yeah, in Attack of the Clones.
He turns up with his mates in outfits and massacres a school.
Yeah. It's really hard when you see, you go back to Attack of the Clones and see, like, when Anakin walks in through the door, and there's that little tiny little Jedi, and he, like, sort of stumbles back a bit, because he's like, oh, this is someone oh, hang on, this is bad. Yeah. Something's about to go down. That's a really hard thing. So, like, I guess, you know, going into this bit, I was like, how much darker can it get? But according to Boyega, quite a lot darker.
Very dark.
We're going to move on to another thing then, something that people have been talking about. And this is, Krupa, mainly your thing, why Snoke can't be Darth Plagueis.
Okay, yes, so lots of rumours coming in about Plagueis being Snoke, and instead of like just addressing this all year, I thought we'd go through the evidence. So this is just one of the emails we've got from many, and this is from Matt Shepard. The imagery we get in the movie look very similar to the drawings that were done for the novel, which I know isn't canon. Plus, he looks like he has seen a lot of physical trauma, especially from the scar on his face. The book says, or at least implies, that he was killed, but he was also a master of creating life through the Force. So is it possible he could have survived and escaped? He also proposes that Snoke is keeping information back from Kylo Ren because last time Plagueis handed on his wisdom, the ability to create life, it led to him being betrayed.
Yeah.
So there is some decent evidence for this. Let's go through some of the evidence. There's sort of musical cues. One that people are really latching onto is in Revenge of the Sith. There's a bit where Sidious talks to Anakin about his master. It's one of the very few times that he talks about his master. It's the only time, really, and it's the thing that kind of ushers it into canon.
Yeah.
And he talks about his ability to control life. And there's a musical cue, which is quite similar to the music they use for Snoke in the new movie. Ooh. It's kind of like guttural, and it's kind of like almost like throat singing. It's like, you know.
He sounds a bit like that anyway.
I'm no singer.
Hello, Kylo Ren.
And obviously people are attaching a lot of significance to that, trying to find clues in the music.
I like
but
that.
also it could just be like Sith music.
Yeah. Oh, John, stick some general Sith music on now, will you?
Yeah, we've got Tony who can do the voice thing. Yeah, get him in.
Get Tony the voice man in.
Tony, the guy with no vocal cords. Right, so here's why we don't think it is Plagueis.
Okay.
So George Lucas has said that Plagueis was a mun.
Okay.
Or a moon. Yeah. We see one actually in Attack of the Clones in a background scene. Ooh. We see one in Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars. Snoke does not look like a moon.
Okay.
That's MWN. They have very kind of elongated heads.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like Snoke.
No.
So
he has got it looks more like Plagueis. Like Plagueis has got like a long face that we've seen.
Yeah, that's a moon.
Yeah. But Snoke doesn't look like that.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going with you.
So Plagueis is a moon. Snoke does not look like that at all.
No.
Like, if you wanted it, you would just make it look like there's a template for what that species should look like.
Yeah.
It'd be strange to veer from that if you're going to go back into that place.
And then, especially if you're going to introduce him and then go, oh yeah, it's Darth Plagueis, he's a moon.
Yeah.
And be like, well, he doesn't look like that. Why does he look like that?
And I know for like vast majority of people that wouldn't even register.
Yeah.
We'll get onto that in a second. Second one. Abrams, when asked about this at Comic-Con, Lawrence Kasdan didn't even seem to know who Darth Plagueis was.
Really?
Yeah, because Lawrence Kasdan wrote on the originals, wasn't really involved in the prequels.
Right.
He seemed like he didn't know. At this point, J.J. Abrams kind of intercedes and kind of gets Larry's back.
Okay.
I'm calling him Larry.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, Larry's obviously joking. Larry's just messing with you. I don't think he was. I bet Lawrence Kasdan doesn't even know what this is.
Yeah.
And Larry's just messing with you. Too early to start talking about the story, but the answer is no.
Right, okay.
Obviously, one way you can interpret that is, well, he's just maybe holding back the secret.
Yeah.
But I think Abrams is telling the truth because recently he's gone on record and said that like keeping Benedict Cumberbatch's role as Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness was a massive error.
Yeah.
And Khan is better known than Plagueis.
Actually, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. It's less. It feels like it's less of a big thing. Khan and Plagueis feel slightly different because obviously Plagueis is just a thing that hardcore Star Wars fans know about. So it feels like it's not quite the Khan reveal disappointment where you'd be like, oh, why didn't you say it was Khan all the time? Plagueis could still be really cool because, I mean, I guess like 90% of people going to see that film probably don't know who he is.
So my final, actually, that was going to be my final point. We're saying now, but like, the fact that the vast majority of people won't know what that is.
Yeah.
How does that play?
Yeah.
Is that an enjoyable reveal for the small amount of people who know these additional things?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have to like transmit some of that information again for that new audience.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just going to go, I don't remember that bit where Palpatine talks about his master being able to control life.
Yeah.
I think it's harder almost to get a fresh audience back to a place where that reveal works for them.
Also, like, if you're the people who handed the keys to the Star Wars kingdom and gone, like, you're Rian Johnson, you're like J.J. Abrams, and these amazing storytellers, why would you want to go digging around in like old archives of Star Wars stuff that people don't know about when you could create your own characters and do something new?
Yeah, and I think on the contrary, like similar to that, but slightly aside to it, it's like you might not want to reuse these old characters. You might go, oh, it's interesting that the biggest bad in the Star Wars universe, movie universe, is Palpatine.
Yeah. Who
was his master? That's interesting. You'd want to know about that.
Yeah.
But you would then go, if we're delving into like the Jedi's like their fortunes like rising and falling, obviously interconnected with that is the Sith.
Yeah.
You might want to go back, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Plagueis. It can be an older evil without having to be something so specific that requires like audiences to remember a film from like over 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Another bit of information, Andy Serkis has said, it is very much a newly introduced character. He's aware of what's gone on in the respect that he's been around and is aware of prior events.
Right.
I think it'd be fair to say he's aware of the past to a great degree. Obviously, he has a huge agenda. He has suffered a lot of damage. As I said, there's a strange vulnerability to him, which belies his true agenda, I suppose.
Oh.
So that kind of, you can read that both ways, but it does say newly introduced character.
Yeah.
So it could, I think that's kind of foggies the issue because I think he's been around for a long time, so he might have been embedded with the Sith or the dark side of the Force for a long period of time, without necessarily being Plagueis. And finally, the last bit of evidence we could find to kind of contradict this theory that Plagueis is Snoke is in the art book, which came out, I know a lot of people got for Christmas. It seems right until they went through so many different designs for Snoke.
Yeah.
Even until very late on, Abrams and creative supervisor Neil Scanlon, they didn't want Snoke to be old, and they even discussed the idea of it being a woman. Which seems like, even so late on, it feels like it's very fluid who that character could have been from a looks perspective.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, it feels like there's not a pre-established, there's not an antecedent they're trying to tune into.
Yeah. I think that's really good. Although, to be fair as well, as Darth Plagueis is a master of creating life, could have created just like a new body for himself.
A new form.
He's just gone, I fancy being a woman.
If you could create life, is that the body you would create for yourself?
That's a really good point as well.
We've got some feedback about that.
Yeah, like why would you create a body
that's not what I'm doing.
Mangled and like with scars and stuff like that. There were some people who saying like the scar positioning is really close to like Anakin's, but no, I'm not having that. But yeah, that's why I think you've made a really good case for why Snoke can't be Darth Plagueis. So let's have some force feedback then, Daniel.
Okay, so first bit of feedback is from Zayas, who's from Wiltshire.
Dr. Zayas?
No, Zayas George.
Dr. Zayas.
Well, he's never writing in again.
Or you write him more and I'll sing that every time he does.
Just wanted to drop my theory on what episode 8 will be about. I think that, just picking up on your theory a little, that the film will be a tale of a race to train up two Force users, but while they are training, it will be interspersed with flashbacks to show how it got to the point where the current Force situation is. This will hopefully fill in the gaps of episode 7. I know you are not fully keen on flashbacks, but I really think this will be the passing of the baton from the old cast to the new, so in episode 9 it can move on to the title of Rey versus Kylo. Flashbacks. You're not a fan. I think they can be done.
I'm not saying I'm not a fan, I'm just saying they haven't been done that much before.
Yeah. Not in Star Wars, but I was thinking about this.
Yeah, also, I'll say this, genuinely, you know when like they have flashbacks, and I'm not talking like when they have like a scene and it's played out normal, but you know when they do like flashbacks and it's like, sometimes there's like a music cue and like there's like, sometimes there's like a filter on it that's like black and white or just like muted colors. It makes me feel sick. I don't know what it is, but there's something inside of me. Like Scrubs do it quite a lot where they do like a little flashback back. And honestly, I have to not watch those episodes because it would make me. There's something in me that makes me feel sick. I don't know what it is, but so maybe that's why.
Yeah. Well,
so if you are Dr. Zayas, like if you can give it, you are a doctor. If you can help me out with that, that'd be really good.
Yeah. What I was just going to say, like, it feels a bit of a weird point to make after your Scrubs insight, but quite good in Godfather Part 2.
Oh yeah.
Like doing almost like a concurrent narrative set in the recent past.
Oh
complete, like really structured flashbacks.
And also, Godfather Part 2 didn't make me sick, so it works. That's really good, actually. Yeah.
Like could be an extended thing rather than just. That's a way of doing flashbacks where it's not like cheap for exposition. It's like that story in itself is interesting, and what's great about that movie is there's parallels drawn between those two characters, Vito's and Michael's journeys. Even though they're at different points in their life, you see their characters syncing up in interesting ways.
Yeah. What happens though? What if, right? Because we've heard about this stuff. You know, these like Star Wars stories, they're gonna like fill in the gaps and stuff like that. What if that's what it's gonna be? Do you know what I mean?
It's coming.
Is it?
There's some really good feedback about that very
cool.
point, actually.
Okay.
It's really
well, this is
interesting.
from Jared Steinmetz. I don't have a song about your name. Still a good name. Can you guys fix your shaky table? It's a little bit distracted. Mate, I've been working at this place for, what, like a year and a bit?
Yep.
And I've said that since like I came in. You've been working it even longer than me. Like, what is happening
What
with this
you don't
table?
realise, there's no base on this. It's actually resting on our knees.
It's ridiculous. Like, what is going on?
Well, it's from IKEA, isn't it?
Can we give out Alex's email address so they can email him directly?
I don't think we should do that because you probably won't be working here much longer.
But what you can do, if you want, is email ign_ukfeedback@ign.com because Alex gets those emails. Put in the subject, shaky table, and tell him you want a new
actually
table.
write, Alex, buy them a new table.
Yeah, Alex, buy them a new table.
Or if you want to contact him on Twitter, it's @AlexIGNUK.
Yeah, definitely do that and let him
Love
know that you want a new
Feel
table.
free to send him pictures of a table that you think we should get.
Oh, yeah, because we need a black one, to be honest, because sometimes it reflects in the screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do that.
Yeah.
I'm an American living in China. It's interesting living in a country where Star Wars is not a part of the cultural heritage of the country. To most Chinese people I have interacted with, they will admit it's entertaining, but they just don't see it the same way I do. And to my great displeasure, they have very fond memories of the prequels as they're the movies they were introduced to first. I'm hoping Star Wars can take a hold here, but there's definitely a learning curve for audiences who do not feel the same affection for the originals. It's reasons like these that I have to agree with the LA-based team when they predicted Star Wars being unable to overtake Avatar, the international box office. My Chinese friends passionately adore Avatar. Star Wars just doesn't have nearly the cultural hold in the rest of the world that it does in the West. That is such an interesting email.
Yeah, that's why I put it in. I thought it was fascinating. So he's American, but he's lived in Beijing for 7 years.
He's 28 years old, originally from Ohio, been living in Beijing for 7 years.
Oh, it's a really fascinating email. It's just, it helps you, like, if you're watching the show, you're a big Star Wars fan. Take those blinkers off and just see it a little bit differently. I think it's really interesting.
That is really interesting.
All right, email from Berger here.
Okay.
How many years do you think will have passed between episodes 7 and 8? Well, that's interesting, because the Russo brothers recently, they were asked, and they said that they think the way that they're approaching the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the amount of time that's elapsed between the movies in real time is the amount of time that's elapsed in the movies.
Okay.
So Captain America Civil War will take place almost like a year, 13 months after the Avengers. So Cap's been training a new team of new Avengers, and they're working on that kind of basis. And I think, you know, that could kind of work if they wanted to do something similar in Star Wars, say 18 months has passed, because the next one's coming out in May.
Yeah.
Rey could easily be with him for a year and a half. Like,
for
it to be meaningful when you return to her and she's like, awesome, or instantly.
Yeah.
I think those are the two things, really.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, they're not going to change that much anyway, are they? Because obviously how they look and things like that. So it's not going to be like ages down the line or anything.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously the virtue of like elapsing some time is, the only problem is you miss out on whatever Luke says to her next.
Yeah.
Unless you get that in flashbacks.
Yeah.
Or there's a jump of time 20 minutes into the movie. But if you carry on immediately afterwards, the First Order is pretty decimated, everyone's pretty decimated. But having like 18 months pass, you allow everyone to like amass an army back up. Like the conflict is potentially higher up.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I know I've said I don't like flashbacks and things like that, and I want it to feel more like a Star Wars film, but, you know, I really like the idea that they're bringing on these interesting directors. Like, Rian Johnson is one of the most interesting directors I think we have. And I think then to sort of hold him back by these chains of, dude, it's got to feel exactly like a Star Wars film. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually, you've got the trust back with Episode 7. Now let it evolve. Let it go somewhere cool. You know, like if you want to do like mess around with time, fine. If you want to do like flashbacks and stuff, that could be cool as well. I kind of trust Rian Johnson, to be honest. I don't think he's put a foot wrong.
This is an interesting question, and I don't think it is the case. I tried to like look for this more closely last time I saw the movie. I don't think it has any screen wipe transitions.
What do you mean?
Wipes.
It does, yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, it
Are
does.
you absolutely sure?
Absolutely sure.
I can't remember any, and I was thinking about it the second time I watched it. I thought maybe they jettisoned that from like the visuals.
No, there are some, yeah.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
I remember thinking it at the time. But yeah, here we go. This is from Sean Woodbine, who's from Bridgend in Wales. I grew up about 40 minutes from there, so probably don't need to read out his email now. That's it. That's probably the most interesting thing about him. I've seen loads of pictures matching up the scars that Snoke has in comparison to Vader. This got me thinking about a possible clone of Vader, but never fully developed, or at least kept hidden away in case something happened to Vader, and Palpatine needed a quick replacement. Suppose a story from The Force Unleashed would best describe what I'm trying to get at, but instead of it being Vader who's creating a load of Starkiller clones and failing, it's Palpatine. What a cool idea.
The only thing I would say to contradict this, a clone wouldn't have scars.
Why?
Because scars are acquired through experience.
Oh, no, I thought he meant like he had the scar after. Right. But he's saying, so he's saying the reason he's got a scar is because he's a clone of Vader. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like grow in like the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that you
shot him down pretty quickly then.
Well,
I think that scar stuff is nonsense anyway. I think it's nice little like things, but
is it a nice thing? Do you think it's just an unfortunate coincidence?
They know what they're doing.
Why do that though?
Because of stuff like this. They want people talking about it and stuff like that.
I don't know if the person who designed that, when that image comparison goes around, just goes, oh crap. Because it muddies it. Do you not think? Like, there's people don't know, like, the scars on Anakin's head when Luke takes off his mask at the end of Jedi match up. You know, there's like three scars that match up quite closely with Snoke's face.
Yeah.
Also, Snoke looks burnt to a degree. Look, he's got like burn scarring. So, like Anakin was burned on the pyre at the end of the Jedi. It's just I hope it's an unfortunate coincidence.
It is an unfortunate because it just doesn't make any sense. Like it doesn't make
more confusing than anything.
But also, it doesn't make any sense for Kylo Ren to be so torn and going back and looking at the helmet and going, "I need your help." If it was Vader or if it was a Vader clone, you just go to him.
He'd speak more intimately.
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not on board with that. I don't think it is.
Yeah, and also like we were saying, like Kylo Ren idolizes Vader.
Yeah.
Not what Anakin looked like inside the mask. Yeah. So even if Snoke has another body, and it's very much kind of a Wizard of Oz type deal. And Kylo Ren wouldn't identify with that image of his grandfather. No. He likes the mask. He likes the iconography of the.
Also, Snoke's not human, man. Like I know Anakin's technically not human, but you know what I mean. Like I don't know what they are. Anyway, what's next?
Well, I don't know what they are. This is from Jonathan Friend from Warrington, or Jonna. Before seeing The Force Awakens, I was really enjoying the theory that you read about Darth Maul being Supreme Leader Snoke. With that theory down the drain, do you think that we'll see Maul in the films again? If so, in what capacity? I'm hoping he's a major part of an anthology film. And he also goes on to say, are there any other characters from the prequels you'd like to see more of? I think we could do that actually one week as a talking point.
Yeah, definitely.
But do you think we'll ever get to see Maul again in an anthology film?
I'd really like that to happen.
Yeah.
Like I'd really like him to just, because that's a really cool reveal. Because people also people shit on the prequels. There's good stuff in those films as well, and I think Darth Maul is one of the best things in those films. And
I feel like a mainstream, like I keep saying mainstream, like basically people who didn't watch Clone Wars. Yeah. I don't think that's loads of people, even people who really like Star Wars, because especially in Britain, it was really messed about how it was shown on TV. Yeah. Those people got like another Darth Maul fix. Yeah. A lot of people who just go see the films haven't. Yeah. So I do think there's, But also as well, out of everything in those prequels, if you were to ask just like, the 90% of people who aren't crazy Star Wars fans what they remember, they'll probably say Darth Maul. Such an iconic image when those doors open.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that would be really cool to see him. Just like a really cool reveal, like an enemy that, has been there. Oh, that'd be really good.
Or even just like some talk about him, or like something, just a little bit more to like flesh it out. Yeah.
But there we go. And the final one then, Captain Phasma's rebel. Subject from Stuart School 4. What does that mean? Is there 4 of him? Is he a clone? In one of your older videos, you stated that you think Finn will liberate the stormtroopers. I think that it will start when they liberate Phasma, and here's why. After bringing down the shields and breaking her order, she starts to lose the brainwashing given to her as a child. The rage she gets from Hux and Kylo giving her shit for bringing the shields down continue to break down the walls of her brainwashing. This is why we don't see Phasma to do anything as a bad guy, like we see Kylo or Hux do as she joins the rebellion, and her image overall will be one of a good guy. I like the idea.
It's a good theory. It's like why you don't see Finn kill anyone in the first scene, because it'd be really hard to get you then on side.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Like, Captain Phasma in the film is one of my big problems, I think. Like,
Big problem, really?
yeah, I just think...
Oh, the plot hole of that.
Just
Just doing so easily.
Yeah, just her giving up, like, so easily. Because I was like, she's a badass, and they're just going, all right, we're going to shoot you. Shoot me, then. Yeah. Go on, shoot me. I know you... Like, she knows Finn is a bit of a wet blanket anyway. Like, he couldn't even kill some just Jakuyans, but she knows he's not going to kill him.
Yeah.
I feel a bit weird. So then maybe there's... but this is good, though, because maybe there's a reason she gave up so easily.
Although Kathleen Kennedy says that she has hinted that her role will be expanded in the sequel, and said that she is a baddie. She's a baddie in the very best sense of the word.
Yeah.
Take that whatever you mean in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely want to see more of her character. Also, I actually really like... There's lots of talk, and there's a really good feature on site about... characters that we'd like Marvel to do new Star Wars comics of.
Yeah.
She's perfect candidate.
Oh,
You're never going to have the time to like show why she attained that position. Why did she get given that armor?
Yeah.
That'd be a brilliant Marvel miniseries.
That would be really good.
Yeah, I really want to read that.
I would read that, definitely. But that's some awesome Force feedback from you guys. If you want to get in touch with us, you can. rebelbase@ign.com, and we shall see you next week.